like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
Hi guys, this is Peterson here, Memento Mori, and I'm here with the second part of my 100 Rebuy final table review.
And here we have me with a weak ace in the big blind, and winning 3 big blinds? Yeah. And I'm gonna send all my chips to the middle here. Just can't allow yourself to get bullied around all the time. And he has the chip lead now. He is opening wide for the exact same reason he was opening wide before when I squeezed ace-10 suited. Which is Pimes being passive and him not expecting me to play back all that much. King 10 here. I just fold this. Whoa. I mean, there is some merit to shoving here, but I do feel like folding is better against Pimes. I was just worried I was just entertaining the idea. One thing that was interesting to note is Pimes is opening to less than 3 times the big blind now. I'm not sure what made him do that adjustment, if he just had a really good hand, if he sort of has realized that it might be a better plan to open smaller, but whatever it is, he certainly just adjusted there. And he does it again now, so it's not a coincidence at all. King Jack suited here, not that interesting, it's just a really easy shove. I mean, I have a really good hand, plays well, pick up a ton of chips if he folds, etc. And again, it's for his tournament life. I don't think he's going to call that often, because all the stacks are fairly equal at this point. So I just picked up 2 nice pots there. And right back in it. Yeah, the shortest stack here is 25 big blinds, and the biggest one is like 47. This is gonna be pretty interesting because there's actually room to like raise fold here, and heck, maybe even see a flop, who knows. I feel like playing this state correctly is really crucial to succeed in tournaments. Like at this stack depth, where it's not just all shoves, but it's not super deep either, it's somewhere in between. There's definitely a lot of room there, in my opinion, for good play and for making mistakes as well. 7-5, obviously just folding. And 8-3 off, obviously also folding. Wow, ace-queen suited, obviously a huge hand, 5-handed. Never even think about folding this. Under any circumstances. Really hoping someone reships here. 3 bets me light. Heck, even call. I just hope someone put some money into the pot, but it didn't happen. Sigh. Especially when I'm at the bottom, like it's such a good spot for someone to just push with a weak ace, or like just do something, you know, don't fold. There's nothing like when you get a hand like that this deep in a tournament, you get all excited, and then when they all fold, you're just like, oh, god damn it. Maybe I am playing too tight if they don't play back at me, but oh well. Moving on here. Yeah, here we finally have a spot where someone isn't just shoving. There's an open and a free bet. I don't think Peterson is light very often, but like just because of the stacked up, but maybe that's what he wants me to think. So who knows? My guess would be that he isn't though. Alright, ace-8 off here. Opening again. Times defense, and I flop an open-ended straight draw. But I also have a lot of showdown value with my ace, or not a lot, but like I'm doing pretty well with the ace too, so I feel like checking behind is the best option. Also, he has a stack where he's going to check raise me a decent amount, and this is the optimal flop to check raise me. Wow, so I called the turn because I thought my hand would be good sometimes for sure. Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure how thrilled I am about that turn call. In retrospect, they call really fast as well. I don't think it's alright though, like it's certainly not bad by any means. He's gonna have a decent amount of, like I beat all his semi-bluffs with my ace high. I have direct outs against almost anything. And I'm getting a pretty okay price. So, still probably should have put a little more thought into it though. I usually don't rush decisions like that. I'm a little surprised by that. Also worth noting that he defended 5-7 off. Interesting bet. If I were to guess, I would say it was like a value bet, but not a super strong one. Something like ace king or something like that. Trying to get one pair hand to pay off. Pine check raise is even more interesting. I mean, I'm still of the belief that when Pine's check raise you here, he just has it every time. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Because I would, if he had a 7, I would also have expected him to bet the turn and let out them to turn. Or if not that, then let out on the river. It seems extremely ambitious to going for a check raise. If you, like, here, like, assuming that he would bet this river. Like, not just betting yourself either on the turn or on the river. But he does have a 7, so just forget everything I said. And yeah, he did have a weak ace as expected. He leveled himself out of that hand, Sergey Peterson. 8-9 suited, could have shoved here, but wasn't really feeling it for whatever reason. It was fairly close. Just 4 off on the button. Fold. It really does seem though like Pimes is opening a lot more hands now. And I should probably start adjusting to that. Makes me regret that King 10 suited hand even more. I'm still thinking about that. God. And blinds go up, so I now have 20 big blinds exactly. Well, pretty much exactly. Ace 5 off. Min raising. Not thrilled about it if anyone plays back, but can't fold an ace here, way too strong. Takes it down. Free suited here? Yeah, just fold it. I'd probably open like a King 9 suited, maybe even King 7 suited or something, I guess, because Pimes is in the big blind, which means he's of the 5 guys left, like he's the most likely one to just take a flop against a min raise in the big blind, for sure. Ten free suited. Man, this is one of my favorite hands. This is the hands that some people call kitchens. For I don't think there's any reason for it. It's pretty dumb. But I'm not gonna shove it here or anything. I would have shoved it if it was folded to me in the small blind though. It would have been a close shove. I'd probably shove it suited and fold it offsuit. 6 free off again on the button. I'm just gonna fold it. And as you naturally can see, this tournament is getting more and more shallow. Like, it's really all about the pre-flop spots now. When to open and when not to open, and not to mess up. And that's the thing, like at this point, like Shibidov, Ronald Grower, and Sergei Peterson all have that down. Like they just know what to open, what to call with, etc. And Pime seems to be picking up a bit as well. Like this is certainly not an easy field. This to like do anything to have an edge in this shallow with a stack like this. Like you just have to play your best and hope it's good enough. You we see this is a pretty interesting thing. Just Ronald Grower under betting, like betting less than half pot on a paired board. It's a pretty popular thing to do. I think it's pretty cool in some spots. I've certainly made Pimes fold, so probably a good idea, I guess. Alright, he's far off here. A little too marginal to shove. If it was suited, I could certainly be convinced it was a shove if it was folded to me. As it is now, though, I think it's a fold. I also feel like defending, it just... I guess it doesn't matter since Sergei Peterson free bet on the button. And I think that's, even if he hadn't taken down, I think that's a really good free bet right there. Just because of how much pressure it puts on Ronald Grower, he can't really flat call it. And so he doesn't risk that much, but he's forcing him to play for his entire stack. Alright, here, King 6 suited, this is an easy shove. It's unexploitable, meaning that no matter what kind of range that Shibidov is calling with, it's going to show a profit. And I can't really do anything else. Anything else against him is just giving him way too much wiggle room. Like, just calling is pretty bad in my opinion. You just want to take the low variance road and just shove it all in. And here we go again. It's only gonna have a déjà vu. Like this happened just 2 orbits ago, like the exact same thing. It's really amazing how many shots he's gotten away with. He's obviously picking his spots very well, but like he's running really good in terms of people folding. I guess not this time. Yeah, that's a good call by Sergei Peterson on a sick turn. Alright, good game. I think it was getting slightly too reckless with the shove towards the end, maybe. Jack 9 suited. I mean, I can see the merits to doing it. It just seems like a bit of a stretch. But he played really well, regardless. So, just glad to have one more down. And now I'm in 4th place. Obviously, ace-8 on the button. Nothing to see there. So yeah, I'm in 4th place now. Not really gonna have that much influence on my decisions or anything, because I'm pretty close to Ronald Grower and Pimes. It's only Sergei Peterson who has a monster chip lead now. Do 7 suited. A walk sure would be nice, but no dice. I'm just gonna check here. Don't accept him to fold all that like that often if I raise it up, and yeah. When he just checks, I'm gonna take one stab at it and then just be done with it unless the board, and he just snap calls, so I'm done with it at this point. Because he could have anything from a 10 to a 9 to like a Queen Jack 8-7 kind of hand. Like there's just so many different kind of hands he could check call there, and I have no idea which of them like he's more weighted towards, and he'll let the river, making it really easy for him. So, but I feel like on that flop like that, like just taking one stab is fine, and then just be done with it, unless the board comes out in some absurd manner. All right, that fold there kind of interesting, but because it's a pretty okay hand, but I just feel like we're not deep enough for me to like raising. Just most of the hands I should raise there, I should probably raise call. I can't shove it; that's too big. So I could call, but I don't really want to be out of position against a good player. I'd rather just take the slightly lower variance and just fold it. Against a weak player in the big blind, with my 6-9 suit, I'd almost always open it or complete or like do something else than fold. But I give his game enough credit that I feel like folding is best. Ace 9 here. Open for a min raise. Hopefully take it down. Nope. Times defense. And I get an awkward flop. And I just check it behind. I just feel like you're gonna lose. Like, he's just not gonna fold anything better. And he's not gonna call with anything. Like some worse hands maybe, but not that many. But hopefully, thankfully I got a really good turn card. And that's just an easy bet, and he just snap forward. So he probably had some 8-7 or some pure air hand. Easy shot here if Pimes decides to fold, or if Pimes decides to call. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I have a little more than 20 big blinds, and I have King Queen off. A really good hand against a frequent button raiser. It doesn't get much more standard than this. Hopefully I can fold out some weak aces, maybe even some small pairs. That would be what I was hoping for. So I have been playing pretty tight from what he's seen. He calls with freeze. Think that's a good call. I mean, he has to make some assumptions about my range, obviously. But I do feel like that's a pretty good call from his. It's marginal, but definitely good. But I flopped the king, so it's all good. We're really back in the game now. We actually have to chip lead. It's pretty sick. Like, I haven't been doing much this tournament, just chilling around. Now I have to chip lead four-handed. That's pretty cool. But all the stacks are still pretty close here, so no reason to get too excited just yet. It's funny how notice that Pimes is min racing now. He went from making it 3 times the big blind at the beginning of the final table, then 6-handed he started making it 2.2 or 2.3 or something along those lines, and now when we're 4-handed, he's min racing. Like, it makes you wonder why he changed his style so drastically all of a sudden. It's kind of weird. I'm not usually the suspicious type or anything. It just seems kind of off. I've never really seen anyone change like that, like midway through a final table. Alright, but anyways, fold. It's pretty cool with my stack now though. Like, now there's really space to make some moves for the first time. 3-bet people light, see some flops, like just do different stuff, which I have been kind of missing out on the entire tournament. But now when it gets more short-handed and it gets deeper, like, just gives you more opportunity to play interesting situations in post-flop poker. Alright, Pimes here min races. I think this is an easy flat. Like, 8-7 off plays fairly well, and yeah, I'm getting a really good price. And he leads here for slightly more than half pot. I think you could argue for anything here. I certainly wouldn't fold a fold. Fold a fold, I mean. But, and neither call. I think peeling one here is perfectly fine. Like, you have a gutter, you have your overcards that are potentially good, and you can take it down on the turn when he just checks. But I liked it to raise just because of how he has been playing so far. I think that putting a lot of pressure on him is good, because he seems to back down from that, especially post-flop.
And here I have 4-8 suited, not much to see here, just using my stack and my image to pick up some chips. But yeah, I think a race with 8-7 off there is pretty good. He's rarely gonna have, and especially when he min races blind versus blind, I don't think he hits that board too well. I think he has a lot of king queen, queen 10, like ace jack, like that type of hands that just missed and then taking a stab. And as you can see here, people who limp in from the small blind just getting punished. Pocket 10s. Hopefully I can induce a light free bet or some other sort of spats. Hopefully some people put some money in is what I'm saying. Pretty damn good hand, four-handed. Looks like Rebuy Peterson is considering a free bet. He just calls. That's kind of weird. I don't expect him to be that strong in a situation like that. Pine's defend his big blind. Pretty good flop for me. I mean, obviously there's the threat of a set from both of them, mostly Rebuy Peterson. But I don't really have, until I have any reason to believe that, I'm just gonna... Pine's leads here for like a really small amount. That's sort of weird, and it makes me think he has something like 6x, like ace-6, king-6, something like that a lot of the time. I don't think he ever has a better hand than 10s. That would surprise me a lot when he leads so small. Maybe a flush draw. Like a flush draw is another thing that sort of makes sense to lead because I raise, and he just min free bets me. This is so weird. I still sort of think I have the best hand here, and he's trying to see where he's at, so I'm jamming. Maybe he has a flush draw or something. Yeah, and I end up looking really dumb now. It's 3-5 off. This is almost embarrassing to show you guys, but yeah, that was pretty sick. I don't know, my rationale was pretty good, I thought. When he instant clicks it back, though, I should probably... Like, I'm certainly nervous about my hand, but the thing about flatting is that there's so many bad turn cards. Yeah, I'm not really sure if I like how I played that hand, but I certainly like the result. So far, the majority of this video has just been me putting it in badly or winning a flip. I realize that's not too impressive to watch, but it's just how tournaments go sometimes. I do feel like, just from the way he played though, like he could certainly have a lot of hands that I would be ahead of. And maybe that's an unrealistic assumption, but that's how I felt at the time. That he could be trying to see where he's at with like week 6, like maybe a small overpair, maybe some. And the thing is, there are not that many hands that beat me, and I would not, like, even though he played a lot of hands, I would honestly not expect him to have 3-5 off ever, or 3-5 for that matter. So I kind of discounted that, and that was an obvious mistake on my part. Shouldn't have done that, because he was clearly defending any two. Alright, so Rebuy Peterson limps in here. I have 10-6 suited, plays pretty well. I'm fine with either raising or checking. I like to just check. Pretty dry board. Although there is a flush draw and certainly possibility of some draws. And he leads out. And that's the end of that. I can't really bluff raise there just because if he has a draw and he's gonna jam it always, so it's too awkward. I'm just gonna give it up. Now here though, this is a good hand. And obviously my two options are jamming or free betting. And I think, yeah, as I'm about to do, free betting is by far the best because I could be doing this with pure error. And he's currently, I have a big chip lead, he has a big second, like he's the second biggest stack by a fair amount. And what that means is that he should be waiting around for a Ronald Grauer, or like, not kind of waiting around, but he should be aware that Ronald Grauer doesn't have that many chips. And if he knows that I'm aware of it, it makes a good spot for me to free bet him live. So that's kind of what went through my mind when I free bet there. But he didn't fall for it. I'll just fold Jack deuce here. Blind versus blind. Eight nine suited. Kinda, it's a fine open, but if Ronald Grauer shoves, I will have to fold, and that is exactly what happened. Oh well. Pocket freeze here. Yeah. I mean, this is just a really simple shove. There's not that much to be said. He is folding way enough of the time for this to be correct. And even when he calls, my hand plays pretty well. I mean, it's a pair. He's tanking. Yeah, he folded. So nice little pot. And here, yeah, there's nothing wrong with just shoving here, certainly. But I think the hand is too strong to do it. You have to raise call it. Yeah, exactly. And this is the reason why I like get king 10 to put it all in. And, well, that sucks, but yeah, like just raise calling, give him a chance to shove with worse hands. It's not like if you shove all the hands he would have called with, he's gonna shove here anyways. So you're just giving him, and he's never flat calling a thing. So you're just giving him the option to shove some worse hands. And king 10 suited would be one of them. So a bit more even now, but I still have almost twice as much as both of them. We gaze here. Still pretty easy open. Just gonna make it 36,000 just like I did before. That would be my standard raise, blind versus blind here. He defends. And we get a really dry flop. My hand is good a lot here. But I am still gonna elect to bet just because it makes the whole hand easier to play. It's good for balance. It's just, and he's a tough player. Like there's just a bunch. You don't want to give him free cards. There's just a bunch of reasons why I feel like betting is superior to check calling or checking without a plan. Basically, just keep up the aggression, especially with a chip lead like mine. Keeping up the aggression is absolutely crucial. King deuce here. Am I considering a free bet? That's pretty. It's a pretty good spot for the way I've played. I actually thought I was gonna fold this. No, this I like this a lot because there's a lot of what we call ICM going on here. Basically, he don't want to bust in third, and given that he has the second biggest stack, I'm just putting a lot of pressure on him and forcing him to have a hand here. Well, yeah, okay, it looks pretty stupid now, but I feel like that was a pretty good spot to do it. Also, I have been playing really tight. Like, I have not shown down any bad hands at all. So I think it was going to get a lot of respect, but maybe I was wrong. Sometimes your timing just off as well. That's a good example of your timing being off. Terribly standard hand by both of them, but all of a sudden we're heads up. And this is one, oftentimes, like, I'd say the majority of the time when I'm heads up, I feel like I'm the best player. But here I'm up against a really good cash player who plays a lot of heads up. So I feel pretty outmatched here. I don't want to. That's no secret. No shaming me in that. Alright, so we're going to discuss a deal for a bit. And just skipped it real quickly because what ended up happening was we tried to make the deal screen work and it didn't happen. And I figured it'd make for a better video anyways if we played some heads up poker. So let's see what happens. And I'll continue to min raise my entire range. So normally in a heads-up game, I would assume I was the stronger player, and I would be looking for. I'm getting 3-bet here. Maybe I should talk about that first. I'm gonna peel a flop here with a hand that flops really well. Flops especially when your flops 2-pair. But I feel like this was a pretty good hand to peel in a pretty good spot. It's the first hand of heads-up, not the second one. Yeah, no. But what I was gonna say was. That normally I'm playing against the worst player sets up, so I'm looking for ways to reduce variance. Here when I'm playing against a better player I know I'm outclassed, I'm going to look for ways to up the variance. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way for it, but say there's a situation that's kind of marginal pre-flop, I'm more likely to shove here than wait for a better spot or whatever. If I think I can take a coin flip, like I'm way more likely to do it. Alright, so I check behind here, which is pretty dangerous, but at the same time, I just think it's more likely to get him to, like, I'll be able to value bet the river more often. He might take a stab at it even more often, but he just checks, which usually means he's just gonna concede the pot, but there's no reason for me not to value bet it. And as you can see, I'm trying to go pretty big here. I'm trying to figure out a sizing. Yeah, for whatever reason, I felt like going big was gonna look weaker. I might have been wrong here. Maybe I should just have bet smaller. It didn't seem to matter though. Like, he just folded pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm by no means a heads-up expert, so my thoughts on some of these hands might be slightly flawed, and especially against such a good player. There might be some spots where I mess up, but we'll see. Ace-2's off. No reason to free bet it, in my opinion. Not yet, anyways. There's no real history established. Pretty dry flop. 7-4-9 rainbow. My ace-high is going to be good a lot of the time, so it's a pretty good flop to peel one on. I think that's pretty standard so far. Folding flop is pretty weak. That's not a good turn card, obviously. He just checks behind, and that's a really bad river card. That completes a lot of the guard balls, a lot of hands just got one pair that I could beat before. So I'm just looking to check fold this river. And he bets super small. I'm still not gonna pay him off though. I feel like this is just a thin value bet like all the time, or maybe even a stronger hand trying to induce. Well, I mean, I actually don't remember if I paid him off. What I mean is I shouldn't be paying him off here. No, I folded good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I folded good. I'd guess that 5 deuce suited there is like an okay defend against a really weak player, but a really bad defend against a good player, and especially against a player of this caliber. Yeah, really good hand I had. Just min raised it again. Got a pretty decent flop with a gutter and an over, and he leads into me. Sort of interesting. I think the default would be to peel one here. Yeah. Because king high could be good. Raising doesn't really serve, like it's not going to fold out anything better, I don't think. Not the greatest turn though. Like, obviously depends on what his leading range is, but something like queen 9 doesn't seem that outrageous. I don't think there's much point in betting here. I'm just taking the free card. And this would be a pretty bad river for him to bluff on. Or I shouldn't say bad, but I feel pretty unlikely he bluffs this river because it smacks my range pretty good. So I just check behind. That's pretty interesting. He hit the backdoor flush. But he also had bottom pair, so I guess he had me the whole way. And defending 9-10 off here. I'm gonna really dry flop. Pretty hard flop to hit. He checks behind. This is a pretty good turn card for me to barrel, I feel like. Because check calling it is pretty gross. But if I bet and get called, I can improve on a lot of rivers. And I can certainly represent like a lot of top hands here as well. I think this is a pretty easy bet. And he calls 9 rivers, the flush and the board pairs. It's not like it's a great flush though. I am still gonna go for value, I think. It's just a little too strong not to. And I get snapped off. Now let's see what he had. He had 9s with the 9 of, yeah, spades. All right. And this is the first free bet so far. I'm just gonna fold to it, obviously, because my hand plays terrible, and it's not even a good hand to 4-bet with. But 8-7 off here, just defending again. The flop is about as bad as they come. But I feel like having a leading range here is pretty interesting, and something I decided to do just because I feel like he gives it a lot of credit, and there are a lot of turns I can barrel as well, maybe even rivers, to get him off hands. Might seem like fancy play, but I don't know. It's some hands of heads are just kind of weird to describe, especially since it's so long since I played them. But I don't know. I just felt like with the dynamic, like leading with air the first time on a ball like that would be pretty good. This is probably a bad open. I mean, you want to open like a lot of hands, like I'd say like 80% or something, 70% heads up if I were to guess, but queen 4 off seems like a stretch. I regret that. And I got free bet, so. Alright, probably 5 here, 40 big blinds deep. This is what I mean, like, with a spot where I'm looking to increase variance. Which is one of the primary reasons I'm free betting here. The other thing is, as I said, with increasing variance, if I can free bet, get him to 4-bet, and potentially get a 5-bet fold in, even though it's ambitious, I certainly think it's possible. And that would be like the greatest result ever. So I feel like doing this against a weaker player, I would just flat pre for the most part. And I'm just c-betting this flop. Don't really want to check call it or like get the there's so many gross turn cards as well. I feel like this was okay c-bet, but maybe I'm wrong. And at this point, I'm obviously just hoping he folds. Maybe if he peels like an ace high, obviously I could live with that, but. And the king seems like such a gross turn card, like just not running out well this board for me at all. Even though there aren't that many kings he can have, I still kind of suspect that a lot of the hands he peels. There's also the fact that he might slow play pre-flop. Like it's certainly not impossible that because he knows he has an edge over me, so for that reason he might like decide to slow play certain hands. That he normally would try to get it in with, some of which consist of the higher cards that are on the board. Alright, so here's a check, and if he bets, I've pretty much given up in this pot. But yes, ace 10. So that's unfortunate. That was a pretty big pot. Oh well, not much to do there. I'll just try and keep up the aggression because that's my best shot at defeating him. Be right back from the break. Here we go. Yeah, I feel like my best shot at defeating him is just keeping up constant aggression, and like that's the best way to defeat a good player. Just never back down, basically. Put him in as many high variance spots as possible. Like, don't look for sit and wait around for a spot or whatever. Just keep up the aggression, and no one has that big of an edge heads up. At least not this deep. Or this shallow, I should say. Yeah, so 8-7 off here. I think it's a pretty standard defend. I'm contemplating free betting, I could see, for no good reason at all, but thankfully talked myself out of it. Pretty dry flop, even with the flush draw. Pretty tough to hit. Let's see. Probably folding here. No? Oh. Yeah, I guess this is an okay spot to re-raise. Although I would be slightly worried about him peeling certain hands like ace deuce and the like, but it worked out, so that's always something. Deuce 7 off, definitely shouldn't be opening that here. I have no idea why I insist on opening 100% of the button heads up here. That might be fine against certain passive players, but against a really good player, I think that's a big mistake. I should probably not be opening more than like 70, 80% or something like that, I would guess. But definitely not 7 deuce off. That being said, the way I got here, I kind of have to continuation bet, not much of a choice. And turn a deuce. Now that could put me in the lead, but only against king 10, king jack. Maybe an oddly like reverse floating jack 10 sometimes, but for the most part I'm still behind here. So just taking the free card, hoping to hit a 7 or deuce, and just giving up if he bets. And he has a queen, yeah. And just defending here as well. Don't really feel comfortable free betting such a weak ace. I have no idea how to react to a 4-bet, and it seems like a waste of my hand. I'd call one barrel with ace high on a lot of flops, but this flop is way too connected to do anything but fold. And just min raising again. Queen 9 suited, just gonna open here, and yeah, as you will see now, I get free bet, and I thought this would be a reasonable spot to 4-bet him in, just to increase variance and to get in the like this is my first 4-bet, so far it would look pretty legitimate. Looking back, it might not be the best move, but against a better player, I certainly don't think it's bad. Like, not that bad at least. Can never be that bad, but I do get snapped up by jacks and flop the queen, but unfortunately it turns to jack, so that's it. Alright, so if I had to evaluate my own play in this video, I'd say I'd do pretty well for the most part, but I did miss some spots. The king 10 suited hand stands out. The 10s were probably a bit marginal, got really lucky there, and I made some mistakes heads up. But overall, I do think I played pretty well. If you guys have any comments or suggestions at all to how I can make the next video even better, I would really appreciate if you could put it in the comment box. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and this is Miggy Peterson signing off.